As a gamer, I don't think there is quite a company that's quite as underrated as Nintendo. Not only did the company save the gaming industry from almost certain doom, it also went on to define the game industry with the many of the consoles that we see and observe in modern video games and consoles. As showing my gratitude, that's what my presentation will focus around, the finer aspects of Nintendo's history from its beginning origins, to its identity crisis, to its role in preventing the video game crash of '83, and as well as made other various successes and innovations. We will start with where it all began. According to NinB.net, Nintendo was established in 1889. Their business was mostly focused on making something known as hand-painted Hanafuda cards. So basically the Japanese equivalent of what we have over here today with like the jacks and the spades and whatnot. Nintendo was later forced to name up production from this thing due to pressure from the mob, because their cards were actually popular with high-stakes matches. After their success with manufacturing playing cards, they actually really wanted to expand to more things. They tried a couple of different things, and most of them were failures. Nintendo's identity... They tried manufacturing, for instance, they tried manufacturing portions of Instant Rice, which was a commercial flop. They also tried to do a taxi service, which worked for a while. It made some money, but it wasn't really anything super great. But they were later forced to close it because powerful taxi driver unions drove up wages considerably to the point where they could not get much of a profit out of it. They also did something known as they also made one into children's toys later, which started off with the Ultra Hand, which is basically a cheesy and pretty impractical reach extender. They followed up by the Ultra Machine, which is an indoor mechanical baseball pitcher. And finally, an Ultra Scope. It was basically a periscope that helped peek around fences and corners. It was not very popular with parents, understandably. As technology progressed, toys took on a more and more technical nature, and which led to Nintendo taking an interest in video games despite the very bleak outlook due to the video game crash of '83, where stock prices of gaming dropped from about 97%. The video game crash of '83 was largely caused by, according to FeelFree.net, way too many consoles and standards, competition from home computers, the incredibly poor quality of a lot of games, terrible business decisions such as the mass production or production of E.T., very poor quality hardware which led to cases of wires and cartridges flat out melting. So Nintendo had its work cut out for them when it comes to making things. Like, the first step they did is they locked down their consoles with something known as a lockout chip. This basically made it so that unlicensed games would not be able to work on all these consoles, meaning that you could not profit from making terrible games. You couldn't run it by Nintendo first. They also removed association with traditional video game terms by a few clever name changes, such as they called it a control deck instead of a console, and a game pack instead of a video game. NES design was also changed to help make it look more like a toy, so it would help to appeal to children and video game-wary distributors. They also released several toilet peripherals such as the light gun and the ROB, which is known as a robot operating buddy. This was intended to further entice distributors and children. And after nearly single-handedly ending the slump thanks to all this, the video game crash of '83, and saving all of gaming as we know it, Nintendo went on to experiment with some new ideas and concepts such as, according to MiddleHistoryProject.org, we start off with the Nintendo Game Boy. This is one of the first handheld gaming systems if you don't count the Game & Watch, which is basically based on stop motion. It launched in 1989 with Tetris as a pack-in. Following that, we had a game known as Super Mario Kart released on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. It was rendered in pseudo 3D, which basically used scaling sprites to produce this illusion. Following that was another small game known as Pokemon. It was rather small, had a meager budget and long development times due to budget constraints. It focused on collecting and battling with trainable monsters, but nobody really thought it would catch on, except for the president at the time, Shigeru Miyamoto. He gave it a chance, and, well, it paid off. It had unparalleled success and was everywhere. It took cereals, cartoons, toys, cards. It just made a lot of bank. I think it's safe to say. After a while, they also came with something known as the N64, followed by a launch title, Super Mario 64. It was the first truly 3D console, which was released back in 1996. Mario 64 was a 3D platformer. They originally had to program the camera that followed Mario from scratch because no one else had done anything like that before. So this basically set the precedent for all 3D platformers to follow later on. Another thing that came much later on was the Wii, another console. It was the first system to actively and keyword effectively use motion controls. This system actually made more money than the sales from the two competing systems, the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 combined. In conclusion, you can see that Nintendo has not only saved, but also changed the gaming industry for better. May have experienced some rough times initially, but they were all the better for it. As a gamer, I'm quite thankful for all the wonderful things Nintendo has provided for me, and I eagerly look forward to whatever they plan to do next, and I hope that maybe you do too.